What's going on, YouTube world? My name is Jamal McKinney. Welcome to the Juice Alert. I'm back with another great video for y'all. Be sure to like this video right now. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. I do post a ton of great sports videos pretty much almost every single day, giving y'all great topics. Okay, today we're going to talk about Daniel Jones and how he was selected by the New York Giants with his number 6 overall pick, and if he will indeed, in fact, become a bust. Now, I'm going to tell you my thoughts on the pick. I made a video about it, a couple weeks ago, right after the pick was made, like immediately after that pick was made. I went right on YouTube and made a video. Be sure to look at it. It's hilarious. It's funny. I did not like the move, okay? I thought the Giants entirely reached for Daniel Jones. For one, I just don't think he's talented enough to warrant the number 6 overall pick, okay? This man, to me, was the 5th best quarterback, in my opinion, behind Dwayne Haskins, Kyler Murray, Drew Lock, and Will Grier. To me, I watched film on all of them, so don't say that I'm just saying, oh, you're just doing this off opinion. No, I've researched and watched film. Based on what I've seen and based on games I watched on TV, Daniel Jones was the 5th best quarterback in this draft to me. This also was a draft full of defensive-heavy players. Daniel Jones, to me, was not even one of the top 50 players in the draft. Not Mel Kiper, I'm sorry. Todd McShay, actually a draft expert, who's very famous, he had Daniel Jones ranked as the 59th best player on his board. So me saying that's not crazy. That's an NFL expert saying that, okay? So, look, Daniel Jones, he does some good things. He checks down to the right receivers, gets in and out the right plays, can stay in the pocket a little bit. But to me, he just is not talented enough, okay? He doesn't have necessarily a lot of traits that scream number 1 overall pick or top 6 pick. What I mean by that is, you look at Cam Newton, arm strength, A+, Carson Wentz a couple years ago, great arm. Aaron Rodgers, great arm. Okay, those are traits you look for in top 6 picks. Okay, athletic ability. He's an okay athlete. He can move around a little bit. Okay, accuracy. Does he have top-notch accuracy? Just the physical traits. You look at Josh Allen a couple years ago. People want to say, oh, the Daniel Jones with the terrible school and Duke. He basically had no talent around him. And while some of that's true, even they're an ACC school and they were ranked a couple times. I think last year. Okay, Duke. Look, listen, Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills right now. You look at him, okay? At least you can say, he went to a smaller school, didn't put up great numbers, He has, the traits you look for that says he can potentially develop into a great player, okay? So Daniel Jones to me is just not graded high in a lot of areas, There's some throws he just simply cannot make, okay? He's very limited. He has a very limited skill set, in my opinion, okay? I think his ceiling is very low. Like I said, I just don't think he's necessarily talented enough and good enough to, transform your franchise, and you shouldn't be picking him with the number 6 overall pick, considering the fact that you basically had another first-round pick at number 17, where you could have taken him, and you also, I think, could have taken him in the 2nd round, okay? Notice how after Dwayne Haskins was selected by the Washington Redskins, okay? No other quarterbacks were taken in the draft. And a guy like Drew Lock, who's miles ahead of Daniel Jones as far as talent goes, and put up better numbers in a better conference, the SEC is probably the best conference in America, okay? He put up better numbers. He fell to the 2nd round. So don't tell me Daniel Jones, we need to trade to get our guy. No, you didn't. He would have been there in the 2nd round, okay? So don't give me that, okay? That's where I'm going with this, okay? He's got an average arm, he's poor with decision-making at times. Sometimes he's a good decision-maker, but he's very consistent with that, okay? He's slow to process defenses, in my opinion. He just has a very low ceiling. He just does not have the requisite skills and talent, in my opinion, to be an elite NFL quarterback. I think he can be a decent NFL quarterback, but to pick the 5th best quarterback or 4th best quarterback maybe on a lot of people's boards at number 6 overall was just silly to me. Okay, with Josh Allen sitting there, Dave Gettleman said we want to take the best player available. Josh Allen was sitting right there. Dwayne Haskins was definitely sitting right there. I thought they should have went Dwayne Haskins. Look. A blind man can tell you that Dwayne Haskins is definitely miles ahead of Daniel Jones. So that's my take on the pick, okay? I did not like the pick, and honestly, I don't think it'll pan out. But I think we should all pause a little bit, okay? Because I'm not here to call this thing a disaster quite yet. Now, I do think Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins will end up being better quarterbacks than Daniel Jones, and eventually Drew Lock, and eventually Will Grier. But let's just pause for a second. Okay, the good thing, if you're a Giants fan, there's some positivity, okay? The New York Football Giants have wrapped their arms around Daniel Jones as an organization. They wrapped their arms around him. This Dave Gettleman guy is in love with Daniel Jones. And, the Dave Cutcliffe connection, Dave Gettleman's in love with this dude. And Dave Gettleman has even said, we will sit Daniel Jones if we need to for 3 years on the bench to properly develop. I think that's key because, you look at Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins. Yes, I do think they will end up being better NFL players, but who knows? Who knows? They might struggle. Kyler Murray is like 5'10". I don't think it's a difference. I think Kyler Murray is one of the best quarterbacks in a long time to come out. I think he's the best combination of a runner and a thrower the draft has ever seen. And I think Dwayne Haskins is a very, very good player too. The guy threw 50 touchdown passes in the Big Ten, has a cannon for arm, has all the talent in the world, and still can get better. And he torched the best defense he played last year. He threw 20 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions versus top 25 defenses last year. Dwayne Haskins was a stud in college, okay? But both of them are going to probably be playing early. Kyler Murray has already been named the starter in Arizona. You look at Baker Mayfield, even last year, Baker Mayfield went number 1 overall, but the Cleveland Browns did not start in week 1. Kyler Murray is going to be thrown right into the fire, and it has to work. Cliff Kingsbury, I don't think this guy is a great head coach, but it has to work. Similar to Dwayne Haskins. Now, I think Dwayne Haskins over time will succeed because they run the West Coast offense, the same kind of offense that was ran at Ohio State. They did some decent jobs, getting some good wide receivers from him in the draft. I don't think they were blowaway picks, Kelvin Harmon and Terry McLaurin, but Washington has shown the ability to draft pretty well. I think they're going to add talent next year in the draft. They'll probably be picking pretty high. Okay, but Dwayne Haskins, if I were to bet money, I think he's going to be inserted into the frame at least midway through the season. He's going to definitely play this year. Now, I'm not a believer in picking someone number 6 overall to sit him for 3 games and say, oh, this guy needs to develop. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I'm not a fan of that because when you draft someone number 6 overall, you should be plugging them right in to start. Now, if you want to sit them for a year, maybe start them at the end of the year, that's fine. But 3 years, that's crazy. But listen, Daniel Jones has the potential to properly develop. What if Dwayne Haskins and Kyler Murray do not fully develop? What if they're, still struggling after 2 or 3 years? What do you ask yourself then? And then Daniel Jones comes in after sitting about 2 or 3 years maybe. He comes in, lights the world on fire. The Giants are winners. So listen, Daniel Jones has to, succeed. He has to, go out there and do really well. I think he really has to ball out, considering the fact that he was such a big reach for it. But, if Kyler Murray and Dwayne Haskins, who are thrown to the fire way too early and are not fully developed and don't develop properly, and continue to struggle, and Daniel Jones comes there and lights the world on fire, the Giants are winners in my opinion, in this situation. They're winners. Maybe if he properly develops 3 years, under Eli Manning, who can show him how to be a pro, he can definitely learn some skills. I think he might have some success in the NFL. Not saying I don't think he's going to be a pro. He might become a Pro Bowl. We never know. Just give him some time. New York Giants fans, I understand, you guys are upset with the pick. I'd be upset too. But the positive thing that I'm bringing from this is that Daniel Jones, they're going to start him when they feel he is ready. Now, if you just flat out can't play, then you can't play, okay? If he's not talented enough, we're going to definitely see, because Dwayne Haskins is in the same division as you. You passed on New York Giants. Kyler Murray, he's in a good spot with Cliff Kingsbury. But I do think the Cardinals offensive line still needs to work in their divisions pretty hard. So we're going to get a pretty good indication with the next 2 or 3 years who really made the right choice. And if Daniel Jones is ready, if he gets some proper if he develops properly, and the coaches wrap their scheme around him and they're falling in love with him, he could succeed. He can have some success in the NFL. Whether you like it or not, I just think that we have to give him some time. We're gonna need to give him some time. I think he could develop into a solid starter. Not saying he's ever gonna be a top 10 quarterback or anything like that, but you can win with Daniel Jones. I don't think Eli Manning was really ever a top 10 quarterback in his career. Dive into the numbers. Really, the only reason why Eli Manning is pretty much a Hall of Famer is due to durability and those Super Bowl rings, and the defense carried him both ways. But you can win a Super Bowl with a type of quarterback like that. Who knows? Maybe he's great in the postseason. We don't know, but I just think we have to give Daniel Jones a little bit of time. He's going to sit, potentially, maybe. The Giants are not going to throw him into situations where they do not think he will succeed. And the organization has wrapped their arms around him. That's key. Because if you're bought into a quarterback as an organization, and as a team, and as a coaching staff, then that makes a lot of difference, okay? You look at the Cardinals. They weren't bought into Josh Rosen. Even though they traded up for him, that was a disaster. So I do think we should just give Daniel Jones a little bit of time. That's pretty much a wrap for this video. Be sure to like this video right now. Subscribe to my channel if you are new. I do post a ton of great sports videos pretty much almost every single day. Appreciate y'all for watching. It's my favorite thing in the world to do, to make YouTube videos. Love y'all. Jamal McKinney. I'm Ghost.